Hello Cherries fans and welcome to the second look. Happy Monday to you. This is our chance to sink our teeth into the weekend's game. This time it wasn't too bad at Anfield. Cherries lost 3-1 to Liverpool, and in this show we're going to dissect it. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
Yeah, you can do a couple of things for us if you want. You can. One of them is hit that like button. We would truly appreciate it.
And click the big fat subscribe button as well. Every subscriber helps, doesn't it? So yeah, just click that for us. Really appreciate it.
Well, it wasn't the 9-0 drubbing that we experienced last season, and it wasn't either the potential shock that AFC Bournemouth fans were thinking about. It was somewhere in the middle, Tom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was a performance which frustrated me. It gave me some comfort. It pretty much gave me everything, but it didn't give us 3 points.
Yeah, we'll get into the game, dissect it properly, because there were some key moments in the game, key decisions that swung the momentum either way. But definitely more positives than negatives for me. Liverpool have got a lot of talent, obviously, and I felt we competed really, really well. And there was a few little patterns emerging that I liked. And to be honest, mate, it was just nice to see us a bit more on the front foot. You saw the way we started the game. It showed that we weren't there to set up and just be pragmatic and sit deep and try and frustrate. We had a go at them, and on another day we could have nicked something. Yeah. As much as I think they probably did deserve 3 points overall.
Well, we're pleased to announce that this season, Back of the Net is sponsored by Green King Sport, where football is more than a game.
Green King Sport venues are showing every single televised Bournemouth fixture over the 23-24 season.
And with more than 900 sports pubs across the UK, it doesn't matter whether you're based in Bournemouth or Barnsley, you can catch every single minute of the action.
So keep an eye out during the season for events, offers, content and competitions that put you closer to the action.
Next weekend, of course, Cherries are in action against Spurs. It's live on TNT Sports. If you can't get to the game, the next best thing to do is catch the Premier League action on TNT and Sky Sports at your local Green King pub. So then, mate, you wake up at 5:30 on Saturday. It's Liverpool. What did you think? What were your hopes from this game? Because I was asking a number of people on the vlog, like, what's a good outcome from this? And a lot of people just said to stay in the game, be competitive, and maybe trouble them by scoring a goal or two.
Yeah, I think we're definitely all haunted by last season. Let's be real. We lost 9-0, so it was kind of all we had to do was really just compete for a game, and we probably would have been pretty content. But looking at the bigger picture, I think we're not the same team. Liverpool aren't, absolutely on fire at the moment at the end of last season either. So, yeah, it was it's a difficult one because I agree, stranger things have happened in football, and I never want to go into a game kind of not expecting you to get something. But equally, if you had said to me, right, it's 85 minutes, you're 1 goal behind, I'd have taken it. I just wanted to be in the game and as I said at the start, just see some certain patterns and see some, kind of style of football that we're trying to get to. And no injuries and all that, and but not expecting to get an actual result out of the game, really, if we're truly honest about it. But to know that we were in it for the majority, which ended up being the case, then yeah, relatively happy with that.
We were saying on the preview that it seems to be when we play at Anfield, we're always playing them when they need a reaction of some kind. I think that performance they had at Chelsea sort of showed the best and the worst of Liverpool in 90 minutes for the start of the game. For the first 20-25 minutes, I thought they looked really, really good. Especially when they went 2-0 up, albeit that goal was chalked off. But Chelsea came back into it, and then you could see some vulnerabilities. And you think, well, the way we can attack people based on this kind of influence of football that like Iraola's trying to put across, then maybe we can go about it the right way. Maybe we can punish them. And it was going to always be interesting for me how he would go about it, because look, they are a team that is sprinkled with quality, as we know, but then there are some weaknesses there as well. So 2:00, the teams were announced, mate, and there it is. For people who are watching on YouTube, you can see it there. So Neto, and then Kirkes Senesi, Zamani, Max Aarons, Rothwell Christie, Anthony Billing, Semenyo and Solanke. I suppose Semenyo was the one that took many people by surprise. But then you look at how he influenced the game against West Ham, you think, fair play.
Yeah, it's almost like he said he's been good in training in the week as well, but it's almost like he's saying, you've earned that. Probably harsh on Brooksy, but I think it was also looking at it that maybe that pace down that side as well, causing problems in transitions. But I think you said about how we'd approached the game. I think that lineup showed, because no disrespect, but previous managers I think would have not had Semenyo, they'd have had Kelly, and they'd have gone to a 5-4-1 and tried to nick something. Whereas we went, no, let's go and match them up and let's try and hurt them if we can and start fast. That's exactly what happened. They obviously went unchanged. It's probably a little bit, but then I think if they want to develop certain things, it's probably not a bad game to do it at home to Bournemouth. And yeah, I was quite happy with the team. You know, felt a bit for Brooksy, but kind of understood it and was pleased to get to see Semenyo being given that opportunity.
They had their new man on the bench from Stuttgart, Wataru Endo was there, but we had another man that was new on the bench, albeit not new in a cherry shirt. Lloyd Kelly was back as well, which meant that I think Greenwood got pulled out. But what Semenyo's inclusion sort of meant for me is that it's probably given a bit of encouragement to the players that, you know, do have a good training session, do have a good cameo when they come on, make the most of your minutes. I think sometimes previously we've seen players that have had outstanding games and for some reason they're on the bench the next day, and it's like, who's he trying to outfox here? Because ultimately it's doing ourselves in. But Semenyo got a chance, and it's fair to say he took it well. So the game started. Before Semenyo scored, we had the ball in the back of the net. Now, absolute limbs, mate. I mean, it was this long raking ball, wasn't it? That it was obviously a target throughout the game that they tried to do this, and it was one of the Andoni's kind of styles that, you know, not only do we score pretty goals, every so often we'll hit the channels as well. And I mean, it fell to Anthony, maybe fortuitously, but he was that yard or half a yard offside, and I didn't see the flag at all.
No, it's a weird one. In the moment, I'm always like, oh, could that be disallowed, especially with VAR these days? But I didn't even think about it. I just thought he's in and he scored, and then obviously you look back and he was just offside. It's a real shame, because if you look at it, you think if he had just stopped his run a little bit, he probably would have got it anyway. Yeah. So it's really frustrating. But as you said, mate, it was clearly a target, and I think down that side as well, we all know what does Trent want to do. He wants to be a bit of an inverted fullback, come into midfield, leave that space. Yeah. So obviously we targeted Anthony early for that, and Anthony done his bit. He just went a little bit too early, but you know, it was a real shame, but it was a nice positive start. And you mentioned there against Chelsea how Liverpool, they started the game really well and then they kind of lost their way. This game was the complete opposite, because we just, I don't want to harp back to it, but I can't remember seeing this since the Eddie days of kind of from the first whistle just going for them. And I felt like they were really surprised. You got to remember, the last few times they've played Bournemouth, they haven't seen that. Yeah. They haven't seen that at all, and they probably thought we'd try and get in our shape, but we just went for them. And I don't think they coped very well in them opening, kind of 5-10 minutes.
We obviously saw it to some extent, you could say, at Arsenal under Gary O'Neill, but the thing is there's a difference. Yeah, of course, yes, we scored after 11 seconds in that game, but immediately we retreat. Whereas with this, we went again, albeit that one was chalked off, but few moments later, and it was moments rather than minutes, 2 minutes, 120 seconds later, we did have it in the back of the net. And I tell you what, this high press, I said it on the vlog, it's effective, because I think the ball was played from Virgil van Dijk into the feet of Trent, who, it was a heavy touch. Yeah, and Phil Billing just smelled blood in his lanky legs. Sorry, Philip. He managed to win the ball back, came to Solanke, and then he looked to shape to shoot, and it did fall very kindly for Semenyo, but great finish. I mean, what a finish.
Really good finish. I think you can hear me on our vlog going, Solanke, what are you doing? Yeah! Because I thought, where's he going? But yeah.
Well, look, let's just see. When Solanke has the ball, I think that he makes the wrong option here, because, to me, he's got a couple of options. It's clear that there are two players to his right and there's only one to his left. But being a right-footed player, he just always wants to go for that right-footed shot. In my mind, it was probably the wrong option. And I shared your frustration there, so you could see it on screen just there. Yeah. Could he have taken it on his left where he'd had a bit more room? Maybe, but maybe we wouldn't have scored. It was lucky that Semenyo was up.
Great finish,
with the action, but it really was. Your first reaction when we score, I mean, Bournemouth fans are losing themselves in the moment. Tom, giving it to the home fans straight away.
The reason for that, I mean, obviously I love a bit of banter and stuff with the home fans, but it was because when we got that opening goal, I got up to cheer and they were all laughing. and telling us all to sit down. So that's why I was going, come on, we can get back up now.
Yeah.
Because it was so soon after. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. It didn't feel like the right choice. It felt like he could just drag it onto his left and have a go.
Yeah.
But it fell to Antoine, and what a cultured Premier League centre forward. But that finish, I mean, you remember he's only scored one Premier League goal, and it was not a very good finish. It went straight through Melier, I think it was, for Leeds.
That's right.
But that was a hell of a finish, and we earned it with the press from Phil, and yeah, like I say, Trent got caught a little bit, but yeah, it was a really, really good start, mate. And I think I got a little bit carried away. I think I said this is what it must feel like to be City. I was going to get my passport renewed. I thought, here we go. But no, it's a lovely start. And I think when you have games like that, where obviously ended up in disappointment, it's nice to have that moment where you take the lead and everything feels great.
It wasn't everyone that was celebrating in the away end, though. Robbie Sargent tweeted and noticed it was unsurprising to see many of our fans not celebrate the Semenyo goal, because it looks like 500 to 600 in his view were Liverpool fans. And look, we do go to every game, and you sort of, even though you don't know them, you see the same faces, and you can sort of tell who's a Bournemouth fan and who's not. But then you can also tell who's a Liverpool fan by the fact that one of them was wearing a shirt in front of Ben Phillips. Like, what on earth? And there were a couple to Steve's right as well. He was like, they are so not Bournemouth. It's just, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, and I don't understand
it's so frustrating.
I don't understand how it works. I don't understand why that can't be looked at and go, right, that's the seat he's got, look at his ticket.
Yeah.
Either a Bournemouth fan has bought that and sold it to a Liverpool fan, so they should get punished, or somehow someone without the points or whatever has managed to get in our end. Either way, it should be looked at, because there's fans, big Bournemouth fans that I know that miss out on going to these games. So, yeah, really frustrating for them. But as you said, mate, it's not that much of a surprise. Tend to get it at the bigger teams, if you like. People want to watch them, their Premier League side or whatever. But did notice it. But yeah, it was like you say, the majority managed to celebrate that moment, which was great. And I enjoyed it. It's nice to take the lead at Anfield and feel like something could happen. But it's always easy to say in hindsight, but you go, oh, it's too early, wasn't it?
Well, that's it. I mean, it seems to happen with AFC Bournemouth fans that we do have these brilliant moments very early on in games, but then we do have to basically poo our pants for the remainder of the game. But I've got to say that Liverpool had chances in that first half. We know that almost immediately. I think we were all singing, we're going to win 9-0, and then you're like 9-1, because it looked like Van Dijk was going to head it in the back. It came off the bar, and there were a few moments like that. There was Zabani sort of lost Van Dijk for that. There was another one in the first half where Zabani lost him again. Another free header for Van Dijk, albeit it didn't trouble Neto as well. And then for Konate as well, after Semenyo lost him. So it's clear to see that set pieces are still need to be worked.
We need to look at it, because I think, statistically wise, it doesn't. The first two games we haven't conceded from a corner, but I think in the West Ham game, I think Phil cleared one off the line from a corner, and then, as you say, they had some chances in this one as well. So yes, if you just looked at the stats, you go, oh, maybe Bournemouth will improve it, but honestly, if you're watching the games, their vulnerability still seem to be there, which is a shame, because I think we've got players that Zabani wins most of his headers in general play, but from set pieces he seems to lose his man a lot. It's them seems to be caught on our heels a little bit. And I always felt before the game Van Dijk could be a problem from them, and he, like you say, he nearly got in there, but we got a little bit of luck on that one at the bar, which we probably earned. But then the goal come, and I don't know what you think about the goal.
What's frustrating is that I switched off a little bit, because at the time the fans were doing the applause for the Everton worker who's working on the Bramley-Moore dock site, and I thought that was a really nice touch as well, because
they said that at the Villa game, because obviously they're playing Everton, and when they were doing the applause, they said, I wonder if it can have the same impact because Liverpool scored.
You do sort of wonder but I mean, I'm sure when you're a player, all your focus is on the action, but it just, I mean, I switched off and the goal sort of came out of the blue a little bit, but the ball was played into Diaz. It got a slight touch off Senesi, I think, that kind of made it sit up very nice. It was a world-class finish. It was really good, like the way he took it.
It's one of them, if you're Liverpool, you go, Diaz, that's brilliant. Great moment from him, bit of magic that they needed, but from a Bournemouth perspective, you go, should he be allowed that much time and space to be able to do that in our box? Probably not. But yeah, we held him out for a fair period of time. And I still, I don't want to be too critical there. I think Luis Diaz is a top player, and it was a really good finish, and it is what it is. But then you just thought, let's get to half time if we can. But because we had moments before that.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
We had our chances. Solanke blazed over the bar at one stage. We had that when Alisson got booked. Where he I think. What happened? Was it Semenya? No, it was Anthony that was chasing this kind of loose ball because he was trying to almost dribble out, and he was going to make a pass, but he was caught between taking another touch with his dribble, as goalkeepers tend to do now, or passing. He did neither. Anthony then won the ball, was about to go between them, and then got taken out, and it was only a yellow. And at the time, we were thinking it's got to be a red, but there were players there to cover, weren't there?
I think that's the right call, by the way, a yellow card. But I find it really frustrating that, say, a tiny little clip in the middle of the pitch that's going nowhere can be a yellow card, and it's exactly the same punishment as the goalkeeper coming out. And I know there's players on the line, but it feels like it would have been well too harsh to be a red because there's players on the line, but a yellow ain't enough.
What I said to you was
horrible,
like,
isn't it?
It almost like there needs to be some kind of middle ground, like a sin bin, like a yellow card, sin bin, and then off, or something like that, or like an orange card.
Is there a way that I'm just thinking on my feet? Is there a way that if the keeper makes a foul, wherever it is, it's a penalty because it's the goalkeeper? Do you know what I mean? Can they just go, you've got to get more of an advantage for the goalkeeper making a foul?
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. But yeah, I remember at the time you just shouting for a red card, but it was the right call by the laws of the game, for sure. But again, it showed that we could get in. And like you say, that was before they managed to equalise. But then I was still relatively content because I thought, okay, that's frustrating, but we ain't got too long now. We'll get to half time and regroup and we'll be happy. But then the ref had different ideas as usual.
I mean, we're obviously just about to talk about the penalty, and it was Rothwell that brought down, in inverted commas, Szoboszlai, which I thought was... I mean, there's a problem here, isn't there? There's a real problem in consistency of the consistencies within the Premier League when you've got last week, less than a week ago, Onana taking out a Wolves player at Old Trafford, and Wolves not getting a penalty, not even going to VAR. The referee didn't even get instructed to look. And then this one where it was basically fabric on fabric.
Yeah.
Szoboszlai just sort of jumps into Rothwell and then goes down. I mean, it was wily from him, and I would be calling for it 100%. And it's not necessarily that decision in isolation because, I've seen those type of things given before. But when you see last week that the penalty doesn't get given for something 100 times worse, it's like now we're turning up to like matches, not wondering, what team's going to show up today? What Bournemouth team's going to show up? It's what ref turns up.
Are we going to get anything off the bit? And the problem with it is it's going to raise the alarm because you mentioned the big call last week was Wolves at Old Trafford, and this one was against Bournemouth at Anfield, and no one can tell me that we're getting that. If that's down the other end, there is no way the ref is giving that.
Yeah.
I don't care what anyone said, there's no way we're getting that at Anfield, not a chance. And yeah, we had a few little contentious ones that I didn't probably think were penalties, but compared to that they were.
When Solanke was running through it, it looked like he was sandwiched at one stage. And I mean, that was probably about the same.
I reckon maybe if you saw two of them, so one of them has to be more of a penalty. I think ours was. Yeah. I don't think either of them probably are. But yeah, really frustrating. Felt for Rothwell as well because obviously remember, despite him playing brilliantly in the opening game against West Ham, it was his error for the goal. Yeah, really, really frustrating because it looked like we were. And we'll come on to all the other stuff with the red card in that second half and other decisions that a lot of people go, from the outside go, it was evened up because of that. It's the timing of it. We're less than 10 minutes to getting in at Anfield level when we were like 5-6-0 down last season. We're nearly getting in at Anfield level. Suddenly, a decision like that has meant we've got to change everything. They can now go, we've got the game. We don't have to come out second half as much. We can be a little bit more, conservative and make it difficult for Bournemouth. And it changes the team talk straight away and the way we want to go about it. And it's all because of a bad call, which is a real shame. But I thought, you never know. Salah's stepping up. He missed one against us. He can't be on penalties anymore.
Well, that's now 4 of his last 5, isn't it?
He's awful at penalties.
Yeah, I don't know what's
atrocious. He's so lucky. I mean, I do always think that if you're if you've got the ball about, I don't think he meant to, but I think sometimes if you hit it with enough power down the middle, there's a good chance it's coming back. I remember the one he missed at Anfield. I didn't look.
Yeah.
And he missed, so I didn't look at this one either. So you'll have to talk me through it a little bit because you saw it live. I've only seen
he just he stepped. If you're saying that there's the middle of the goal and there's the very right hand side of the goal, it was in the middle of that, or maybe even more central. The way that Neto, it was a great save by Neto, strong, etc. But I mean, it even fell to him on his favoured left foot as well. It wasn't even like it just fell to him on his right. It
done quite well to get back up and nearly. I mean, it was always going to be. Neto did save that.
When vlogging it, I was
I know. I'm looking at you, not watching it, and I see you go to celebrate, and I'm about to go mental, and then obviously I work out what's probably happened. But Neto done his bit. Really, it is what it is. But real shame for us. But apart from that, mate, I think we go into half time pretty happy, and so we're all frustrated about the decision.
We were all looking in the concourse, looking at it. Mark had a clip on his phone. He was like, "In no world,
no, it's not right.
In no world." But you know what? The referee, I'm sure he got a chance to check it out, and he's probably got that in the back of his mind, hasn't he?
Yep, he has indeed. As soon as he's going out the second half, I think subconsciously he's thinking, "I need to give Bournemouth something. If there's a big call to make, I'm going to have to go in Bournemouth's favour here," because he's human. And he knows he's made an error, in my opinion, at half time. And that is exactly what happens about 10 minutes in.
But it was a high challenge from Mac Allister on Ryan Christie. I mean, high is maybe exaggerating somewhat. Straight red. Liverpool fans, if you're watching, we don't think it was a red either. It was so soft.
Never.
It was so soft. And you'd think we'd be like, yeah, it's the right decision. Well, in many ways, it actually changed the game for the worst for us. But yeah, I don't think it was, and it was like he was trying to kind of make amends somewhat.
What I can't, like I said a few times there, referees are humans, are going to make mistakes. I don't mind going back to the penalty. I don't mind if he gets that one wrong. I don't mind if he gets this red card decision wrong, because we've got VAR now.
Yeah.
So the first penalty is clear and obviously an error.
Yeah.
So tell him the red card is clear and obviously. Why do they have to be? It's just strange. That's obviously not a red card.
The problem is VAR is subjective.
It's pointless.
Exactly.
Apart from offside, where they can do the little lines, which is boring, but fine, you're going to get it right. This stuff is all opinions. So you basically go, and the referee that's getting paid to referee the game, he's given an opinion. And then the only way it's not going to be given is if other ex-referees give an opinion.
Yeah.
It's just all opinions anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just and it's just that 90 minutes alone, like if you compare it to other 90 minutes, you'll see decisions that are exactly the same that go another way, which think, well, why have VAR? Because it's supposed to be a leveller, but in my opinion, it is completely. It's a joke. It's a joke.
And that was never. I felt for Mac Allister. I mean, I don't know what they'll do in terms of if they can appeal or what, but
and if they do appeal, I wouldn't be surprised if it's overturned. You can overturn a red card. You can't overturn a penalty call that's wrong, because they've now won the game as a result. But look, I mean, we're not saying that Bournemouth deserved anything out of the game. I think Liverpool were the superior team, and I think that they did deserve it. And a lot of their football at times was good to watch, but most of that football annoyingly came when they had 10 men, and only 3 or 4 minutes later. There's a shot from range. It gets a slight touch on the way. Neto, I think he was planted. I still think he should have gathered it though.
Yeah, I think I kind of said on the vlog, I was really frustrated because from the live view I thought Neto's got to do better. I've looked at it back and thought it does take a little nick. He still gets to it. It is a little bit unfortunate because as much as you could say he should hold it, should one of the defenders be a little bit sharper than Jota is, it's a difficult one. I don't think it's a hideous error, but he'll maybe be looking at that going, I should have done a little bit better. But he got to the first shot, to be fair, and Jota was in the right place at the right time. But as you say, mate, that was a massive moment because if they hadn't have scored that, they've got a long time with 10 men and we could just put them under a little bit of pressure, start making them feel the nerves inside the stadium. But they got that cushion. And then, unfortunately for us, it was at a time where we all know, and if you're a Liverpool fan watching Bournemouth at the moment, we've got a lot of new signings and players that are out. And our start 11 is strong, but the subs bench is not the subs bench that we're expecting going forward. That's no disrespect to the players that come on, by the way, but it meant that players that were tiring and clearly needed to come off. You saw later on when I think we had to take Rothwell off because he ran his race, but we had no one in his position, so we had to move a defender to midfield.
And he's not naturally
he's not. So we haven't got a defensive midfield player at the moment, as I'm sure you can relate. But Yeah, so that was frustrating because just when we needed something, because we got an extra man, it felt like we lost that edge a little bit, and we knew that the subs probably weren't going to be to the level of the players they were replacing particularly.
Those subs were being prepped before they scored their third.
I know, Andoni said that. He said we're ready to change it.
Would it have made a difference? We don't know, but we'll show the match timeline on screen because it's quite in terms of substitutions. The second half from 62 minutes onwards is where it all happens. So Endo comes on for Liverpool, but then we're bringing off Jayden Anthony and Ryan Christie. Cliver is coming on, as is Kiefer Moore.
Yeah.
Liverpool are making changes later on with Trent and Jota coming off.
I thought that was interesting, by the way, when Clivert come on, and not that he'd done anything magical, but just of his directness and his energy because he just come off the bench. 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, they took off Trent and put on Joe Gomez because I think they could see that Clivert was going to cause them some problems. So that was probably a good move from Klopp, actually, reacting well there.
If only we nicked one.
If we nick one even with 10, 5 minutes to go, because it's just that mentality thing, the whole crowd get a bit nervy. They didn't win the first game, and you never know. And like you say, either they don't get that third or we nick one, and we could have had a chance. I got bringing on Clivert and Moore, it made sense, but this is where it goes back to Christie's had knocks lately. If all of them were the exact same fitness level, Christie ain't coming off because he's really good at that high press winning the ball back. But he ran his race, and it was similar with Rothwell and Semenyo a bit later. So that was a shame. But we still managed to bring on Brooksy, Cliver, Kiefer Moore. We had some options.
Like Kelly came on,
and then Hammer Traore later.
Traore as well, and then Tsimikas and Nunes for Liverpool. So lots of substitutions, lots of breaks of play, and it sort of favoured Liverpool really, who saw the game out, I think, relatively comfortably. Well, I say that, we tested them, or did we? Well, we should have tested them more than we did. I mean, Kiefer Moore, when he came on, I thought it was one of his poorer showings in a Bournemouth shirt. There was that moment where the ball was squared back to him where he inexplicably put the ball over the bar. I think he should have just got his head over it and at least test the keeper, but went over the bar. There was that moment where the ball came across and it looked like a combination of Philip and Traore. Should have put it in the far post, ended up going wide, and then it was Traore again that was in on the action. I thought he did great, by the way. A meandering run where he came across to his left and then fired the ball back the opposite way, and Alisson was scrambling just to manage to get the ball around the post. We tested them.
We did. I think it was half an hour against 10 men. You've got to have them you've got to have a few half chances, which we did. Then Liverpool done well with 10 men, I thought. They deserve credit. But I think if anything in that game, which was, there was a lot of positives, we've got to do a little bit more against 10 men, in my opinion. I think that third goal really kicked the stuff out of us a little bit. Yeah. And like you say, the Kiefer Moore gets a big chance, and that was a big moment. But yeah, Traore was definitely a lively one, mate, a real positive, and mentioned at the top of the show that Semenyo got rewarded for his cameo against West Ham, and it will be interesting if Traore similarly gets rewarded in the next game, or at least get more minutes, because he didn't even come on in the first game, did he?
That's right, yeah.
But yeah, really good positive performance from him, and it's a weird one, isn't it? Traore wasn't used in the first game, Semenyo hadn't been used all pre-season, and two of them have come out of two of our kind of standouts in the first two games for moments. So yeah, showing that we've got a lot of players that we can bring in that can help us. But yeah, it's a really difficult one, mate, because I think you can, if you take the game as a whole, I think positive's a bit of frustration, because there's moments in the game where you think, oh, that's good, and then there's moments where you just think, oh, we could have done a bit more. Yeah. But I can't be too downbeat. It feels like there was maybe a little opportunity missed there, because I think you said it, but when they go down to 10, even when they get third, I think we've got enough time if we nick a goal. Yeah. And I'm thinking back to me in the preview saying 3-3, thinking I'm going to look like a genius. But yeah, want to be, mate. Want to be.
No, want to be. So when we check out the match stats, look, it's an improvement. It just felt improved all over, and I think the stats do reflect that. Obviously not as much as possession as the home side, but 5 shots on target,
that's
7 off target as well. And yeah, exactly.
We went, how many games did we go last year? It felt like it was about 3 or 4 games in a row without a shot on target or something, or like one. So to go to Anfield and have that many opportunities, and I guess even things like the goal that was disallowed, that doesn't get counted.
No, exactly.
So, and that's that's a foot away from him being on. So it just showed that we're definitely causing teams more problems. Mate, I know, as a Liverpool fan, kind of, said, comparing it to last season from like an opposition point of view, he said that was the main difference, is you look like you come to try and compete and win the game, whereas last time it almost felt like you turned up to make up the numbers and get out of there. So yeah, definite positives, mate. But the fact of the matter is we've we have come away with nothing, and so we'll be looking to improve certain bits. But yeah, I think in general, I was all right after the game. I think most people were.
Yeah, there is a frustration that we just didn't take the chances. When you carve them open, you want to see them being put in the back of the net. Let's check out the average positions here, and it's probably about right for Liverpool, really. For Bournemouth, you can see as the game went on, we were getting more players in their half. So we did throw caution to the wind. I think at one stage there were about 5 or 6 attackers on the pitch, and I sort of admire that. It is a hark back to the football that we used to play a while ago, but I won't mention the name. However, I think overall, Bournemouth fans were able to see an identity for once, which is something that I'm kind of pleased by, and it makes me think, you know what, when we're playing the lesser sides, surely we're going to be entertaining and fun to watch and come away with 3 points.
Yeah, you hope so. You definitely hope so. And I think once we get, say, after the international break, we get some bodies back. We're missing some massive players for us. I think you look at the way we're trying to play with Andoni now, and you think how Tavernier and Ouattara would love that in particular. And then obviously you're adding in new signings as well, like Scott and Tyler Adams to come in. And so, we're going to get some bodies back. But I think the patterns are interesting from the 2 games. They're similar, which shows that you're trying to play a certain style. I think what people haven't mentioned, you showed there on the kind of average positions, is the centre-half positions. And most teams are pretty much the same, but it's quite evident that Zabani drops and he wants Senesi and then Lloyd Kelly, the other centre half, to try and get forward with the ball and spray them passes. And it's brave, it's bold, but it's more enjoyable, and it will give us more chances in games. And I think I tweeted after the game, it's frustrating. We haven't won one yet in our first 2 games, but I'm liking the team, I'm liking the way we're playing, and I'm liking what I believe that we're building going forward. And that'll do me.
You were saying on Twitter, you saw something after the game about how our season's been very similar to Chelsea's.
It's mad. It was a Richard Jackson shout out. If you're watching, you better be. He pointed out. Chelsea's first game was a 1-1 draw against Liverpool. Bournemouth's first game was a 1-1 draw against West Ham, both at home. And then Chelsea went away on the second game and lost to a 10-man West Ham. We went away on the second game and lost to a 10-man Liverpool. Yeah. Really, really weird. Both 3-1.
Yeah, so the American big money clubs. And can you just recite to me the first 3 letters of the alphabet again?
A. B. C.
Okay, so you look at the league table from Sky Sports and you would think that Bournemouth should be above Chelsea. Apparently not. The BBC got it right. Sky Sports on Super Sunday are putting that.
What? I just can't understand that. It doesn't matter, but I don't get it.
But surely this isn't being done manually. Surely, this is being calculated mathematically, or
has someone literally thought? Because technically we're AFC Bournemouth, so we
even still.
But is someone literally gone? I think C's above B in the alphabet, isn't it? Yeah. And they just said, I don't know, but we're above the dotted line, mate. That's all that matters.
Yeah, we are above the dotted line, and. Look, we've got a Premier League show that's coming out tomorrow on YouTube, or if you're listening on the audio pod or watching on a Tuesday, check out YouTube, because Premier League show talks about what's gone on this weekend. And I tell you what, it's looking like a long season for Sheffield United, maybe for Wolves, for Everton. We're going to be all right this season. I think we're going to be all right.
Very, very early days, but I think it's the teams that many were suggesting. I know we're kind of in that as well, and we've just got the point. But have started as kind of people anticipated. So, like you said, the 3 teams you mentioned have started struggled. I think obviously Wolves started the season pretty well and were unlucky against Man U, but then they were brought down to earth quite quickly. But yeah, it's weird how quickly it seems to shape up, isn't it? But and then teams like Brighton and Brentford are just continuing what they are. But yeah, it's 2 games in. But a few little patterns starting to shape up now. But I think what you'll notice with ourselves, as I mentioned, but with most teams, is I always feel like it's once that window's shut and then you come back after that, that's when you start seeing, right, our team's developing, what's teams' favourites 11 and style and etc. etc. So yeah, exciting stuff, mate. Afternoon. Hope everyone's doing all right. It wasn't 9, was it? That's what we keep saying. It wasn't.
Oh, sorry, mate. I'm sorry. That's so rude of me. I was just looking at Tom's player ratings. How do you get access to this, mate?
I mean, I was absolutely fine with you doing that. I like listening to myself, obviously. No, that is if you're on Telegram, and now you're on Telegram.
If you're a monthly member of Back of the Net that helps just support us for what we do, I really appreciate that, by the way. But
yeah,
you get this.
Yeah, well, we try and do a few little bits for them, don't we? Just to say thank you for subscribing. So you get to see more of my face. This ain't promoting it. They're gonna see more of me giving silly opinions. But no, yeah, I do a little player rating show and. Yeah, just a few opinions on there, and then you can come back to me if you're in the Telegram group and say who your man of the match was, if you think, I underrated him, overrated him, etc. I normally do it the day after, because sometimes when you're in the heat of the moment after a game, I thought, I'm going to do the player ratings now. This one I definitely wasn't, because it was about midnight. But the next day when I've dissected it a little bit more, and then we go through them. But there were a few good performances out there.
Well, I was about to say, who was your, because obviously the club do a shout, and who was your man of the match?
I think this was this one more so than the first game. Everyone was going Semenyo, which I agreed with because his overall play was brilliant and he got the goal. But I thought there were a few. Again, I thought the fullbacks looked good, and I think
I love the way that Kirkes was looking to get forward.
Just loving. I think there's his stats for the first two games have been right up there in terms of interception stuff as well. And you've also got to put into play here who they're up against. Who they're up against. I mean, Mo Salah and Luis Diaz. I mean, you're not going to get much easier, much tougher than that. Sorry. So I really think, and they're brand new. They're brand new to us. I think them fullbacks going to be key for us, and I think you'll start seeing them more on that front foot as well coming forward. Because at the moment, they've got to be a bit wary of who they're up against.
Yeah, I saw an article in the Liverpool Echo. Obviously clickbait, but it was from Dominic Soboslai, who swapped shirts with Kirkes after the game and said, he'll be able to use the shirt to wipe the dust from his shelves. But obviously it was an in-joke because it's Kirkes, they're both Hungarian. It's the big hope of Hungary, Kirkes, and the main man, the Hungarian Soboslai. So, but maybe Kirkes can take that title. But
maybe Kirkes can jump on the floor a bit more like Soboslai, and we might get a few decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not bitter about it, right?
No, not at all. And you can wipe the dust from the floor at the same time. Man of the match, you said so. Who scored? Which does it statistically? Came up with Neto.
I guess with things like that,
that's got to be a statistical thing based on.
You may save the penalty.
Yeah.
If you save a penalty, it's like with fantasy football and stuff like that. But technically Neto saved the penalty. So even though it went straight back to Salah.
So this shows that
some stats are a bit
science, football is a science, but also it's an art. And if you're using the scientific mathematics statistical route, you can talk about your XGs or your passes per defensive action as much as you want.
Sometimes you need the eye test.
Sometimes you need the eye test, and that shows it because Semenyo there. I mean, rightly so.
Miles ahead of everyone.
Obviously, the goal he scored helps that as well. But
and that's another thing as well. Even though he wasn't as good as West Ham, Rothwell gets the worst score because he gave away a penalty.
Yeah,
like them sort of things play into it. And I think, like you mentioned there, XG and stuff. Well, XG goes through the roof for them because they had a penalty.
Yeah.
So them things always mean that you need to go off the eye test as well. But equally, I don't think I'd like to see what people think because that Neto, that third goal. Could he do better, or is he unlucky? I'm not sure. But apart from that, he was absolutely fine. He was good. Apart from that, wasn't he? So he was fine in what he did. He won me something as well.
On the vlog, you said, but you were struggling to get reception.
Oh.
Because you've noticed this. I think we've said it before that he always gets done for time wasting.
Yeah.
And always gets booked for it.
And when we went 1-0 up, I was like that. I'm seeing the odds.
Yeah.
And then obviously when the penalty, he just starts shouting at the ref, and I'm going, "Oh, go on, put him in the book." Happy days. I got it within about a minute before it happened as well, so I was pretty lucky for that one.
Being gamble aware, right? So look,
only a few quid.
Yeah. So I think signs are looking good.
Definitely.
Our run isn't particularly easy. Spurs next. They're tasty. We'll talk about that on the Premier League show, of course. I'm sure because. Yeah, when they didn't have Kane, we're wondering, are they going to be weaker for it? It doesn't seem to be the case. So it's going to be a tasty one, but you were saying that maybe this presents us a chance because, they are susceptible. They're still not amazing at the back, despite having the reinforcements of like Van der Ven, etc. They are a side that can be got at.
I think there's similarities to Liverpool in terms of that they'll be open and I'll be very shocked if they don't score, but I'll be very shocked if they keep a clean sheet, which is, I think, what we said in the preview for the Liverpool game, which obviously happened. I just think Liverpool have got a little bit more quality, so I think we've got a slightly more chance, and we're at home. And as much as they won their last game really well, they didn't win their first away game at Brentford, and that was similar patterns where they just didn't have enough quality and were too open. So yeah, I think we've got a chance, and I do think this. I mean, I'm going to put the curse on it, but if it's 0-0, I wouldn't be too disappointed. I think this game reeks of goals. Absolutely stinks of goals, mate. So good one to get on the old telly for the kick-off. I think this will be a good game.
I'm going to mean that up. Thank you so much for watching or listening. We truly appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe, because there's plenty of content coming your way this week. Tom, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely pleasure, mate. Absolute pleasure. And yeah, just looking forward to seeing the next game now. I'm quietly confident.
Up the cherries. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Right, let's put some money on 0-0.